What's a hick? Let me explain how I use the term. I began riding our rural roads soon after we moved to Madison, Indiana in 1986. I started out on a motorcycle but soon moved to a bicycle. I coined the term HICK for these rides. It's an acronym for Historic Indiana Countryside on Knobbies. There are more than 500 miles of county roads in Jefferson County, Indiana, in addition to state and local roads. The historic in the name refers to the many artifacts from the early days of Jefferson County. Stone structures built by immigrant Scottish masons in the late 17 and early 1800s, steel truss bridges dating back a century or more. From the riverfront to the fields and forests, southeastern Indiana has been inhabited by hardworking citizens for a long time, and evidence of their toil remains. There's less of it each year as things succumb to abandonment and neglect, but there are still pieces of it out there if you know where to look. And the knobbies in the name? In the 1980s, most county roads were gravel and knobby tires were required. With the arrival of riverboat casinos in adjoining Switzerland County, our county used some of their state-mandated shared casino money and paved the roads and replaced bridges. But casino revenues have plummeted. I don't see evidence that Jefferson County has started following the national trend of allowing rural roads to revert to gravel, but I think that may well happen. In the meantime, there's still lots of gravel out there, again, if you know where to look. I often do HICK rides related to calendar events. I've done a New Year's Day ride since at least 1991. Most years I do a St. Nick HICK in the weeks leading up to Christmas. All HICK rides are casual and focused on fun. The St. Nick HICKs are even more laid back. I continue to do solo HICK rides fairly regularly. I also do group HICK rides. I announce these through the Share the Adventure group page on the Rich Reese Adventure Facebook page. The link is in the description. My group rides are generally free, although I occasionally ask attendees to bring non-perishable food items, which are then donated to local food banks and shelters. And please understand, my use of the term HICK is not meant to denigrate our locals. Our part of the country has the finest people on earth. Which brings up another point. In the description, you'll also find a link to my Ride with GPS page. Whether you use my information or just come here on your own, be nice. Cyclists have a great relationship with local drivers who are patient and courteous almost to a fault. We'd like to keep it that way and ask that you also practice patience and courtesy. You'll encounter agricultural equipment and ATVs and wildlife. Be ready. And occasionally a loose dog will come out, maybe aggressively. This is in violation of Indiana state law, but it happens. Use whatever method seems to work best for you in such situations. I'll share my method if we have a chance to ride together. I've heard folks recommend throwing a milk bone or other treat to distract the dog while the rider moves on. Please don't. Reinforcing dogs' aggressive behavior with rewards increases the risk for riders in the future. Gravel conditions vary from loose and deep to hardpack that rides like asphalt, sometimes on the same ride. And virtually all HICK rides do include asphalt roads. Often they make up the majority of the ride miles. Because of this, no one bike type is perfect for all parts of any HICK ride. I started HICK rides with a fully rigid mountain bike because that's what was available. A group HICK ride may now include mountain bikes, gravel bikes, fat tire bikes. I'll give more info on bike and gear selection on the behind the scenes page for my Patreon supporters. But the easy answer to the question of what kind of bike should I use is just run what you brung. Final bit of advice, a whole lot of where we ride has no cell service by any carrier at any time, period. Plan accordingly. While most of my HICK rides occur near Madison, I do them in other parts of the state as well. And I've become so accustomed to referring to my rural rides as HICK rides, I use the HICK name for all such rides no matter what state I'm in. So that's it, everything you need to know about HICK Rides. Certainly not all there is to know. Much must be acquired from the saddle. I'm Rich Reese, and I'll see you out there.